Welcome to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Got another good show lined up for you this week, and I know you'll think so after viewing it. It's a clip show, our best of. For all the guests we've had, we've got some fantastic interviews. If you've missed them the first time they aired, we're going to rerun them for you tonight. And also, if you have seen them, enjoy them again. So thanks for tuning in. I know you'll enjoy it. And here we go with Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara.
His hands were hard and stained with dirt from breaking ground. He's the heartbeat of the heartland, and everybody knows if a ship ever comes in, it's coming in and rolls. He'll make it roll from sun up to sundown. He knows how to make Mother Nature come around with a saddle full of faith in fields full of love. He'll give it hell, and with a little help from above, he'll make it grow. They'll make it grow.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. We're living through some of the most interesting and challenging times many of us have ever seen. Knowing who you can rely on is more important than ever. Many of us turn to our families to get us through, and the same holds true here. From our fair, upfront pricing to exceptional service after the sale, we truly want to exceed your expectations. So give us a call or stop by and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. And as you see on the screen, there they are. The fearsome twosome. Jeff Horner not there, the fearsome threesome. So Jeff wasn't able to make it this week. Jeff Horner, former Hawkeye great. But I've got two other former Hawkeye greats, his teammates back in that heyday of the Hawkeyes in the early to mid 2000s from 04 to 07 for Adam. But for Greg and Jeff, it was 02 to 06. But first and foremost, Adam Haluska to my left, screen left, and then Greg Brunner at the bottom of the screen. Greg, Iowa's all-time leading rebounder. Adam, a second-round NBA draft pick. Hawkeyes through and through. So first and foremost, guys, thanks for joining me. And secondly, we'll start with you, Adam. Thanks for joining me. How's everything going with you?
Going good. Yeah, tough loss we had against Indiana, but looking forward to more of the season here. So
yes, definitely. And Greg, how about you?
Going well. Little kids basketball, school, all that fun stuff. So did a full week of toughness at little kids basketball. Got to get right.
Get your head right. That is exactly right. We've got a bunch of stuff to get to today, and I can't wait. So as Adam had prefaced, I'm going to get both your takes on this. And this time I'll start with you, Greg, and then you after that, Adam. Greg, your thoughts on the tough loss at home to Indiana. We knew it was going to be a tough game. We previewed it last week. You knew Archie Miller was going to have some. Galloway didn't play for Indiana, one of their better players. They still ended up sticking it to the Hawks, 81-69. A 20-3 run in the second half left us all just shaking our heads. And Indiana comes into that game 8-6, and the Hawkeyes were tied for first in the Big Ten for that game. Now that looms large. We record this on Tuesday afternoon. Friday night's game, the fans will have watched this game already by the time this show airs. But Greg, talk about what happened against Indiana and what you foresee coming within Illinois, please.
Yeah, honestly, those ones happen. You got to let those ones go. You don't want to have a week off after a game like that. Those are ones that you want to play two games later, because the coaches are going to be fuming. You're going to work on a lot of things that aren't your normal, that you did wrong. And it was just losing CJ in the second half hurt him. And he's just an offensive flow machine. So he kind of gets the ball distributed. He can shoot the ball. And we just lacked scoring in that second half, couldn't hit shots. And that's part of it. And I thought that their zone disrupted us. And then they picked apart our zone where they settled before they got in. They got guys that collapse, and then they got easy kickouts for another driving opportunity or catch and shoot threes, which are layups these days. Yeah. So that's what it really came down to in that game. I really wish I would have known. It was one of those interesting ones where I thought the Hawkeyes were going to roll in the second half, and yeah, didn't happen. But Illinois will be a tough one. Probably one of the more athletic Big Ten teams, and going to get up and down, and I think they play a similar style to us. Is can we match that athleticism, and can we match the energy? Really, I mean, I watched Illinois a couple times, and that game against Northwestern, that was a tale of what they can be. They can be ice cold, or they can be just on a steamroll, and it's a very dangerous team.
Yeah. And Adam, I'll go to you, please.
No, same thing. I thought the zone just looked a little weak, especially in that second half. They had a little screen action up top. I mean, how many times did we get the ball, down in the paint there where we let them have a shot or they got fouled? It was frustrating. And I know, obviously our offense really got stagnant. I'd like to see us set better screens. If you watch a lot of times, sometimes in those games, guys are just going to spots. We weren't getting great looks and we weren't hitting the shots we were taking. So, the other thing, like Greg said, you got to let it go. It sucks having a week in between. But there's a lot we can look back on that film and actually, I think, learn from. As close as we might have thought it was, it could have been a lot worse. The Indiana didn't shoot the free throws entirely well, and they left a lot of points out there. So it's not who we are. I mean, we're a much better team. I didn't think I'd ever see this team go on a, down a 20-3 run. We get enough scoring on the floor, but he's right. Having CJ out, hopefully he's healthy, at least getting better. But we're going to need him for big stretches of this Big Ten season. So a lot can happen, right? We can go on a nice little run here and get back to first place. But I'm anxious for this Illinois game. Like he said, they're athletic. You don't know what team they're going to bring, and whatever team they do bring, if they're ready to go, it's going to be a tough matchup.
Well, and viewers, I got to tell you, well stated by both of you. And you see their social media and that they're in the financial business. Both Greg and Adam are, so you see all their information at the bottom of the screen. But what I want to let the viewers know, Adam, you and I were talking off air before Greg joined us here on the Zoomcast to record and do this TV show. And you brought up the Illinois game. I said, do you have any memories of an Illinois game from your past? And you brought it up, and then when Greg got on the screen with us, the huge grin he had on his face. So, Greg, I'm going to let you react. Adam, tell the story that you did for me off the air for the viewers now, if you would, from an Illinois game in your and Greg's past, please.
Yeah. So I think they were either 1 or 2 undefeated coming in to our building in Carver, and we had a pretty solid season going on. It was a big matchup. I think we were both ranked, and they come into our building. We come out for warm-ups, and right before the start of the game, an entire section was Orange Crush. They ended up, I think they had Hawkeye shirts on or somewhat neutral clothing. And so, we played in Champaign against the Orange Crush, earlier that year. Just an incredible crowd. I mean, they had huge support being ranked, like I said, either 1 or 2 in the country. And I think we were pretty shocked along with the rest of Carver when all these shirts came off. And whoever did the ticket sales gave a whole bunch of tickets to an Illinois crowd right in the same section. So we were pretty amazed by that.
Yeah, it was something. It was the most creative thing I've ever seen come out of Illinois. No, it was. I remember we were looking up. We're like, wow, this isn't normal. Like it's an hour and a half before the game, screaming, yelling, everything, and then right when we're about to jump ball, it's just boom, orange. I'm like, oh, that's an ugly orange too. I don't like seeing that in Carver. So,
and back to Greg. I mean, we've had family, right? Our girlfriends played or traveled to some of the games. We had friends or family. A select few of parents got to sit behind the bench. There's a ton of them that have to sit. If you go to an opposing crowd and you try to buy tickets or get tickets that are issued, you're sitting at the very top. And so these guys had decent seating, but they were all together and they were all one big crowd. So it made it pretty memorable.
Well, I got to ask you both in about a minute each here. I love it. We got Adam Haluska, former Hawkeye basketball playing great, to my left, screen left. So it would be your right, viewers. And then Greg Brunner at the bottom of the screen joining us. I got to say this to both of you. Jordan Bohannon, much has been made on Twitter, social media about Jordan's battle with University of Iowa parking. And I hate to do this to both of you, but I got about a minute left each way. So Adam, give me your take on this, and then we'll close it out with your take on it. Greg, please go first, Adam.
Yeah, so I came from Iowa State. We didn't have to pay to park to practice or even be there at the arena. So I was shocked when I came over, and guys like Greg and Jeff tried to kind of show me the ropes. I used to park out by the track or down by the Wig and Pen, and I would walk, sometimes even for game days or definitely for practice. Greg can allude to this. I mean, you could have been at Carver 4 to 5, 6, 7 hours a day, and we just didn't have a lot of walking around money. And so to pay to actually have to be there to practice every day, and if things go wrong or, you got an extra film session or weightlifting or whatever, there's a lot of times guys did not have the cash in their pockets to leave the parking ramp. So
it was change at the time. It wasn't cash. It was change.
There were no credit card machines. Yeah, it's I'll let Greg kind of finish, but it is crazy. And, to be a student athlete and as much time that we put in and have to be there, Jordan's got a battle. I don't agree that he should be fighting it right now during the season, but he's got a point.
Yeah, I would. I haven't seen a racket this well done since the Mafia in New York in the mid 50s. It's unreal. Like the athletes need to be taken care of on this one. Every school that I know of, they don't have this type of problem, or a lot of the schools. I shouldn't say every. It's a situation where you're as an athlete, you're variable. You have no idea what the coaches have for an agenda, plan of practice, everything. Like you show up. Alfred wanted us there an hour before practice to get treatment. So we get there at 10 o'clock in the morning. There's days we didn't leave until 5 or 6, and then you're going directly to class. There's days that you got out at 2 or 3. There's days that you got out at 1. So like paying that machine over and over and over where it's a variable, it's impossible to do.
Well, and like you said too, it only goes to 4 hours, right? On some of those. So you could be in there 6 hours and, you're not going to be able to leave practice and go tell coach, hey, I got to go feed the meter so I don't get a ticket.
Yeah.
That would go over well.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And I got to tell you both. I just talked to James Vandenberg, the segment before you, former Hawkeye quarterback, and it happened in football. And he was giving financial planning symposiums to incoming players and outgoing players. And he said, Dave, players had thousands of dollars of parking fines and racked up. As you guys said, you can't pay attention to that. And as you both had mentioned, that's a battle for down the road. That's for certain. And it's just intriguing to me, as you both mentioned, that Jordan's going through this during the season with other things to think about. But I can't thank you both enough for joining me this week, sitting in for Jeff Horner and knocking it out or slam dunking it. I was going to use a baseball analogy. Better to use a basketball analogy with you two, but slam dunking it. Adam Haluska, Greg Brunner, 2 former Hawkeye greats. Guys, thank you so much. Greg is the all-time leading rebounder at Iowa still, and Adam was a second-round NBA draft pick in 07 NBA draft. So thank you guys both so very much, and I look forward to catching up with you very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks indeed.
There is a spot for women in agriculture. There's many places for females, for female farmers. We can do a lot. Over the years, maybe we couldn't have always done everything, but there's lots of places we're finding on our dairy farm especially that females are really good at milking cows. They're really good caretakers. They're good at taking care of animals and observant and detail-oriented, which fits in well on a farm and can make an operation more successful.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
One word means more to farmers than any other: yield. Nobody knows this better than your friend in the field, Mershman Seeds. With industry-leading seed treatments like Trepidity ST, you'll see faster emergence and more bushels per acre. Become a part of the Mershman family and see the difference in your field. Ask your dealer for superiority. Mershman Seeds.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. As you can see on the screen, I got my buddy Austin Martin, starting catcher with the Iowa Hawkeyes, and what a story he has. We're going to talk about the Iowa Hawkeye baseball team. You've heard me talk about it for the last couple of weeks, and I told you I was going to talk about it, so here we go. Austin's going to join us here and talk a little Heller ball with Hawkeye baseball and all the things going on in and around the Hawkeye baseball world, but also with Austin Martin. So first of all, Austin, thank you so much for joining me. And secondly, if you would, show the viewers and listeners, or show the viewers where you're at right now. You truly are at practice, aren't you?
Yeah, actually coming right from practice. So I'll go ahead and flip my camera here, and there's the field. I'm sitting up in the press box right now. So
there it is, Dwayne Banks Field. I love it. So let's do this. Let's get into it right away. You guys are on a heater. 7 of your last 8. You won a game with Rutgers this last weekend where you were down to your last out. Rutgers first baseman drops a pop-up with 2 outs. You guys go on a 7-run scoring binge. And then you end up losing a heartbreaker on Sunday, 8-7. But 7 of your last 8, you're on a 7-game win streak. You kind of stumbled out of the blocks. You're going into a big weekend series against Maryland and then Northwestern into early next week at Dwayne Banks Field there. So again, viewers and listeners, if you want to check out HawkeyeSports.com for any updates, postponements, cancellations, reschedules, or ticket information, please do that. You see Austin's information at the bottom of the screen earlier via social media, mine as well. So Austin, let's do this. Let's have you get into that stumbling out of the blocks. You and I had a conversation yesterday off air, and how you guys righted your course for right now in this season, please.
Yeah, I think right off the bat, I guess we were kind of warned right off the bat that our schedule was a little bit tough coming out of the blocks, like you said, but that wasn't an excuse for us kind of putting up the numbers or putting up the stats that we were putting up as far as the team goes. And I think we just all bought in together and realized that this isn't the season that we want to have. And we kind of just had a mutual agreement. This is not how we're spending the 2021 season. We're going to flip this thing around right now and stick with our process, stick with the things that we train with all season. And we're really going to show our true colors down the midway of the season and also the straightaway back end. So
I love it. I tell you, it's been fun to watch. You've been on Big Ten Network a couple of times. You're going to be on again upcoming. Talk about some of the guys that have been key cogs in this wheel. And I'm holding your feet to the fire because you know, Austin, if you start mentioning names, you're going to drop a few off. But apologies to those guys in advance, but I'm going to leave that up to you. So talk about, Coach Heller and how he kind of rallied you guys. But it sounds like you guys kind of rallied around your leadership. You're a senior, some of the other guys. But talk about some of the big performances you've had as a team, please.
Yeah, no, I think our pitching staff has been really good all year, which has been huge for us. And then our bats were slow coming out of the gate. But it was kind of one of those things that when our pitchers were clicking, hitters weren't. And when our hitters were clicking, pitchers weren't. And then finally we've been clicking on all cylinders. So it's felt good to play the baseball that we know we're capable of playing. And like Coach Heller always preaches, just stick to our process. Results don't matter. The only thing that matters is your process. And that's really what we bought into, and just showing up to practice like we're doing today. Just getting better with the few hours that we have together and just really translating that into the weekend.
I love it. I can hear batted baseballs in the background, the ping of that bat. And again, you showed us the view of Dwayne Banks Field where you're recording this in the press box just before practice and after batting practice. But you've had some monumental home runs, big grand slam. It was on the Big Ten Network. You're as a team, individuals. Again, you talked about some pitching. Do you want to mention a few names of some of the big performances, or are you afraid to get in trouble to leave some off? Go ahead, mention a few.
Yeah. I think like Trenton Wallace has been outstanding this year. All of our starters have Trenton Wallace, Drew Irvine, Cam Bauman's been really good, Duncan Davitt. On the back end, we have Trace Hoffman, Dylan Nedved, Grant Leonard's been really effective as well. Probst has thrown well. Literally everybody. I can't think of one name that's thrown poorly. And then on the offensive side of it, Ben Norman's had a really good year. Peyton Williams as well, and a few others. I know I'm going to miss some, but I'll probably get some crap for that after this. But yeah, that's beside the point. But yeah, those are some names that really stick out to me.
That's fantastic. And yeah, you will, and that's baseball, and that's the dugout. Let it happen. But yeah, I love in the post-game interviews, a lot of your teammates hold bats up like it's an extended microphone, and you guys are having a lot of fun. I can see the smile on your face of the success makes it that much more fun, too, when you're winning games. But let's do this. You and I had a great conversation last year on radio when you joined me on my radio show and talked about the journey once the season, the rug was pulled out from you guys, like the rest of college sports and professional sports when the pandemic hit last March. But before I get into that, I also want to check in on the health of your brother Owen, and you're a Southeast Iowa or Southeast Polk high school grad, and then you went to SCC, Southeastern Community College, with a former Iowa Hawkeye pitcher, and you're my mutual buddy Justin Schulte. And so talk about that, if you would, about your brother Owen, if you could, and then we'll transition into your decision last year about coming back. And your folks were on vacation, and what a chaotic time that was. And man, you came out the better side of it. So let's talk about your brother Owen first, please, Austin.
Yeah, no, back in 2018, for those that don't know, he was hit by a car while riding his bicycle and suffered some brain trauma and a lot of other severe injuries. And quite frankly, we didn't know if he was going to come out of it alive or not. It was a really lonely feeling as far as my family goes. We didn't really know what to expect. So we, as far as what we were told by doctors and stuff, we were just hoping for the best, whatever that may be. But he's made a very good recovery, actually, and we're super proud of him for everything he's done as far as rehab and stuff like that. But he's talking again, he's walking, he's able to live his everyday life, how for the most part, how it would have been before. He still has his everyday struggles, but our family's able to help him through those, and he's a really determined kid, and yeah, we're super proud of him.
That is awesome. Hashtag Owen Strong. Also, hashtag Hellerball, Hellerball. Rick Heller, a Southeast Iowa native, Ottumwa area, then played and coached at Upper Iowa and Fayette, and then Indiana State, and been at Iowa, and what a transformation he's made in his years at Iowa. But so, Austin, let's get to your story then in about 4 or 5 minutes that we have left with you for this interview. And I got to get you back to practice, so I don't want to get you in trouble that way either. But what a decision you had to make last year when the pandemic hit. Your parents were on vacation with your brother, and so you were kind of on your own, and all this happened. So take us through that, if you would, what your decision-making process was to come back for this year. You had a job, you had your education, there were things you could do. Take us through that process, if you would, please.
Yeah, no, I think it was really weird, and it caught everyone off guard. It was, you said it earlier in the interview, it was literally like the rug was pulled out from underneath us, and we were kind of just told, like, first we were supposed to take off for California, and I was actually hurt with a concussion, so I wasn't traveling anyway, so I was a little bit out of it, and we got told that our season had been suspended and we weren't going to take that trip to California. And then 2 weeks down the road, we were going to go ahead and reevaluate. And then within 3 hours, actually, it was probably 2 to 3 hours after, we got a call back to return to our auditorium down in our baseball facility. And they said that our season had just been wiped out. We won't be playing the rest of the year. So it was unlike anything I've really experienced ever in my entire life. It was pretty emotional. A lot of our guys were pretty upset about it. Actually, all of our guys were. And then there were, quite frankly, there were a lot of guys that had to face some real life decisions with employment. They were graduating, whether it was worth coming back and paying the extra money for education, just because we didn't know if scholarships were going to be on the table. So certain stuff like that, it made the decision really hard. But a lot of the older guys, we have everybody, all of our older guys are back except for 2, which is Grant Judkins. He got drafted last year, and then also Justin Jenkins, which he decided to take a job and kind of start his life, which I respect him entirely for what his decision was. But the rest of our older guys, we kind of rallied around each other. We were talking all summer, and we were talking in close confines with our coaches and whatever it was, just to kind of get all the information that we needed in order to make a really good decision on our behalf. And we just kind of all agreed, like, listen, we didn't get a full season, and we didn't get a chance to fulfill what we wanted to fulfill as a program. So let's just go ahead and give this thing one last go around. And we got our living arrangements figured out, and buddies and all that stuff. So yeah, we're all back.
Man, you are making this Iowa proud, Hawkeye proud. What a year you guys are having. And for you, again, wrestling with decisions, and those that may have had to make decisions, as you mentioned, you can't begrudge them for that. But I will say this to you in our last couple of minutes here that we have with you, and get you back to practice. One more time, if you don't mind, spin that camera on and show us the view of Dwayne Banks Stadium, if you don't mind, please, Austin.
There she is.
Ah, look at that. I tell you, cannot wait. Again, go to HawkeyeSports.com. The Hawks got a big weekend series against Maryland and then Northwestern late this weekend into early next week. Again, you can check it out, HawkeyeSports.com. This airs on Friday night. We're recording it on Tuesday afternoon. So want to talk a little Hawkeye baseball with you. So let's do this, Austin, rolling into the end of the year, and I'd like to have you back one more time after the season to kind of talk about your future and where everybody's going and what's going to be happening with Heller Ball and Iowa baseball. But I got to tell you, when you take a look at, fans are able to come back a little bit. The way the season was last year, as we both talked about how the rug was yanked out, and you guys are having it this year. Is it more fun in a weird kind of way? Is this more fun and more appreciation for you guys as players and for you? Or is it a normal season? I got to believe this is a little bit more fun and better appreciated by you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, no, especially after last year, we didn't get any warning. It was just gone. So here when we were finally able to get on the field again, we were all really appreciative just to be able to be sharing the same locker room as a team, be sharing meals together, living with our teammates, whatever it may be. We were just happy to be back on the field. And then the little to no amount of fans that we're allowed to have in the stadium during our games, depending on where we're playing, we're super appreciative. And they actually opened up last weekend to 50% capacity at Dwayne Banks. So it felt like 1 million people compared to what we've been playing in front of all. But it was good to see some familiar faces in the stands for sure.
That is awesome. And again, you can check out all his social media. Find Austin at Austin Martin. And again, HawkeyeSports.com. This is Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara, at DaveO'HaraSports.com if you missed it on TV. Austin, I can't even begin to say thank you enough. Get back to practice. I don't want to get you in trouble, but we'll catch up with you after the season. All the best to you and the rest of the Hawkeyes throughout this baseball season. Thank you again, and look forward to catching up with you soon, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dave. Have a good one.
My pleasure, and thank you. Thanks again for tuning in to our clip show with Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. The best of the best. Man, we've got some great interviews and some great folks joining us. So I'm glad you got to see that for the first time or watch it again for a second or third time. Love to have you viewing the show. And thanks again to our advertisers and sponsors who make this show possible. And thanks to you for tuning in. So for Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara, that's all from me. Thanks to all of you.